I'm on the phone right now with Pam Donahue of Manchester. We're going to talk a little bit about Ocean of Love and what Ocean of Love has done for her family. Her son, Evan, is now 21 years old. Now, Pam, if I recall correctly, we talked about 4 or 5 years ago, maybe the last time we spoke?
Actually, probably a little bit more than that. He was first diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma at age 13, and then he was diagnosed with thyroid cancer at age 16. So, now he's 21, and he's in remission and actually considered cured on the Hodgkin's at this point. And he's doing pretty good.
Well, that's really good to hear. I'm glad there's good news, and everything's been good. All his scans over the last few months, over the years, have come back good. Yes,
right now he's on yearly checkups, which, I think actually this past year is the first time he's been on just yearly, whereas it was very, every month and then every couple of months and every 6 months, and now it's once a year. So as long as everything stays the way it is, he's, doing well.
And how are you doing? That's an important question to ask. How are you doing?
It has its moments, you try not to think about what happened, but it's really hard not to. I mean, if they get sick, if you get sick or you notice anything like out of the ordinary, you're kind of like, how are you doing? Are you okay? Do you feel all right? As time goes on, you get a little bit more stronger, I guess you could say, even though I think you're probably at your strongest when you're going through this kind of thing. It has its moments.
So 8 years ago, when Evan was 13 years old, do you remember your first encounter with Ocean of Love?
Yes, very much so. We went, everybody recommended we go see them. And, at first you're kind of like, we're okay. We don't, you wanted, I don't know, I guess you want to do it on your own, and then we went down to talk to them. It was a relief to have them. The woman we dealt with at the time was Maria, and she would call even if I was at work, and she would check on us, and they supplied us with, gas cards and things like to go back and forth to Monmouth Medical. For holidays, the firemen came with, ginormous food baskets and stuff, and, had Christmas gifts. We have a daughter also, and she was very young at the time, and they included her and everything, so we felt very like we had a cushion, like somebody there that really cared and knew what we were going through, and was just really helped us through a lot in more ways than just. It wasn't just financial with the gas cards, but it was also emotional too.
You said you thought you could do this yourself. You and your family, you could take care of Evan on your own. Looking back, have you possibly have done this? Going through all these years from that point to now without Ocean of Love, could you have done that?
No, I really don't, because I don't think anybody really understood, but they seem to understand.
And Ocean of Love was there for a shoulder, for a hug, for advice.
Oh, absolutely, yes. And believe me, they were needed a lot.
But, that's why we want to talk to the families. We want to get the message out there of why Ocean of Love is so important and what are the things. Obviously, you talked about the gas cards, and you talked about, the gift baskets and the holidays, the fire trucks. And we want to let people know what they do for you.
Yes. Like I said, even just calls out of the blue, fun things they do. I'll tell you, if you have, we had, like I said, my daughter, and she was younger than Evan, and they had like a magic show, and, they would invite everyone to that. And it just takes you away from the horrible or the sad part of it, the rough part of it, and gives you a little joy. Like it's, besides being there for things that you really needed, it also gave you some, just some downtime, some enjoyment, you know what I mean? Just took your mind off of that it wasn't all about being ill or going through horrible times. It was also about being together and enjoying life as well at the same time.
I'm on the phone right now with Pam Donahue of Manchester, talking about her son, Evan, who's 21 years old, and he is cancer-free, and That's a good thing. We can hope that just continues. Do you remember Ocean of Love being there for you during your darkest times?
Yes, there was always... Like I said, we dealt with Maria at the time, and it just seemed like she always knew, even if I didn't call her, it's almost like she knew to call me. Do you know what I mean? If he had doctor's appointments, because they would keep track of when we had things going on, scans going on, treatments going on, and they would always reach out to us, and there was always there just to listen and just feel like what you had to say mattered, and they knew, how important... however little it might be, things were in the everyday life at that point, at that time.
We're raising $105,700 for Ocean of Love. We've been doing this for a bunch of years now.
Right.
What would you tell the people right now who are listening to this for the first time, why to donate, why they should donate?
I would try to tell them to just continue no matter what, to have hope. And I know there are people that were probably worse off in than we were, but just to have hope. And for people that have heard of Ocean of Love, and which we had obviously before this had happened, you just don't know when someday it could be you. And they really do help. And, any help you as the society, the town, the whatever, can do for them just helps everyone else who's going through this horrible disease.
You learned a lot from this experience, Pam?
Oh, a lot. A lot more than I think I wanted to. Medication names, treatment names, testing names, It's rough sometimes. And then there are times when you're like, oh, you have a good day and you think we can get through this,
Are you still active with Ocean of Love?
Right now we are on, I guess, what they call the, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the term. It just escaped my mind.
Like a maintenance?
It's like a graduation, but they do keep in touch. And Evan's still, actually, he graduated from OCC and he's going to Keene College right now. And they also do like scholarship things still. So we still do receive benefits and help in that way also.
Well, we always hear the stories that Ocean of Love always stays with these families. They never leave. They always check in. They always want to make sure everybody's doing good. If you call them tomorrow for a random question, they'll still answer your question.
Oh, absolutely. They've never stopped being there.